Hello and welcome. Today I will be transinvestigating Holly Willoughby, who is a UK TV presenter and former model. Of course, I am of the opinion that Holly is a male to female transgender, and I will be explaining in this video why I think this to be the case. I've wanted to make this video probably for as long as people have been asking me to make it, and I knew instinctively that something was not right with this person. But instinct is not fact. What has changed over the last few months has been my own personal interest and confidence to take this second look. So let's start with the shoulder to hip ratio. As an adult, Holly has demonstrated she has had shoulders wider than the hips, and the upper chest has the same structure and muscularity of a male. Other photos we will see in a few minutes will show wider hips, but for now it can be said that these modelling photos exist on numerous, quote, legitimate publications. Shoulders, depending on the person, are the width of a hand, and a male should be able to swing his arms back and forth when stood upright without catching the side of his leg. Women's hips will impede that motion. Check this on yourself and female friends. All these people I investigate can be shown to look the same, but they don't look like the rest of us. As is the case, most of the time striking all the right poses to cover up and distort the visible shape of her straight line hip area. Hand on the hip, turning to the side, use of clothing, etc., etc. But each one, unsurprisingly, achieving the same effect, every single one. As a biological male, I like to see this area visible on a woman, if nothing else to help confirm gender. Today the image of Holly is this exaggerated shape. I'm not claiming this by itself is not possible, I just find it interesting to note that the hips have expanded without her being overweight in other areas, and I suspect this has been done to cover up her broadening shoulders over the recent years. This image, unsurprisingly, is the only image I could find showing the position of the left hip bone in relation to the high belly button. It's not the greatest photo as a reference, but it is important that I include it as it is an official photo showing their relative positions. One piece of evidence on its own raises suspicion, but building a case with multiple examples means the argument for reasonable doubt diminishes. As you can see, the facial features are masculine, feminized through hormones and clearly heavy makeup, but still very much male. This interview footage was sent to me many months ago, and at that time I realised that while it was convincing, I'd decided at that point that if celebrities used hip pads or had fat cells injected under the skin to widen their hip area, then it would be just too big a leap for people learning about this issue to contemplate. Trust yourself and your eyes. Shoulders are wide, as well as the large skull hidden by the volume of hair. Of course, the very prominent ridges and deep-set eyes. The jaw, as well as the bone structure. I'm just listing features, but these for me are softer than a lot of other people I've investigated, but that's not really saying much. I always forget to mention this about makeup, but all the blusher and eyebrow work that women are being instructed to use falsely defines the cheekbones, making the feminine more masculine. In the same way fashion seems to dress women with masculine shapes, like using shoulder pads, so eventually you have people making fashionable changes to their face, and young biological women in the UK are increasingly going for what I can only describe as the tranny face look. I think this trend will continue, where we have this halfway house that makes MTFs more passable in our society. I really do wish I could stop that trend. Holly in this photo shows what some might consider to be evidence for, or remnants of, a shaved down Adam's apple. Again, the jaw from the correct angles will match with the large skull and upper frame. This is an image from a crude UK TV panel show, which I found when looking for evidence of an Adam's apple. Fearne also appears on that show, who I'm mentioning because this is someone I find far more comfortable and confident to say is an MTF. The body might not be quite that of a supermodel, but there is no female curvature. Shoulder to hip ratio is a red flag, and I think you can tell that that jaw is just going to become more prominent the older that person gets. Also the back, and a very useful image of a wide bony shoulder. When comments are made about the relevance of the shoulder to hip ratio, the shoulder joint here extends beyond the widest point of the hip. But back to Holly. In my opinion, Holly is either using hip pads or has gone down the fat cell injection route. If I was a betting man, I would say hip pads. For those new to the topic, the hip pad is commonly used to augment the area while fat cell injections are surgical and supposedly permanent. What I should point out is that even though this is a celebrity showing female curves, she is still promoting the false body image. Other than the hip area, no woman can produce this overall appearance, whether through diet or exercise or biological female genetics. It's been a while since my last video, but during that time I've given this topic some thought. It's become clear to me that people, particularly in the Western world, are not having the correct conversations with one another. Give a man a mask and he'll tell you the truth, and no more is that true than today. It's so risky for people with something to lose to say what they see. If we don't talk and identify deep societal problems, then they will just get worse. I believe eventually people will be forced to identify themselves online, and this important crucial outlet will be lost. Fear of every kind, just like out in the world, will stop people sharing their thoughts. If you like this video, please remember to like, share, sub-bell and subscribe, and I will hopefully speak to you again in my next Transinvestigation. If new to the channel, please watch this short video that finally convinced me of what is possible to change a person's gender appearance and voice. As always, take care, and thanks for watching.
Rainbow passage. When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long round arch, with its path high above, and its two ends apparently beyond the horizon.
Rainbow passage. When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long arch, with its path high above, and its two ends apparently beyond the horizon. There is, according to legend, a boiling pot of gold at one end. People look, but no one ever finds it. When a man looks for something beyond his reach, his friends say he's looking for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.